our ways of communication.
The hassle is all the time that child pornography is sort of used as a sweetener for censorship. It's the entry for censorship. Yes. Yeah. Okay.
That's what I meant. You know, how can you be against? How can you be against? How can you not be against child pornography?
We are. Basically, anyone is against child pornography, but that's not what anyone said.
I'm on the verge of liking it because of this
Okay. Either I'm missing a point, but maybe we will get the next question. So.
I think the previous person was trying to suggest that the media uses child pornography as a smear tactic to smear people who are pro anti-censorship. Okay. Anyway, my question goes back to some of the media things we mentioned earlier. I think Wikileaks is a great project, and what they do is awesome. But I think their Achilles heel is how much they rely on the media to spread the news of some document that they have leaked. And what with I think it was Annie, the MI5 lady, said earlier that MI5 and MI6 can control the media like that, and also commercial interests like Rupert Murdoch and his group can sort of control the media. Can we really rely on the media to impartially sort of promote documents, or will they hide things that are bad for them?
Remember, it's not just the traditional media anymore. When a document is released that seems important, particularly if we say it's important, then all of you can assess it and analyze it. Every blogger, every country in the world can write something about this. So what really keeps the mainstream media mainstream is it has access to sources that most of you don't. If those same sources are presented to you, then you can write some comment on it. So we're not limited to the mainstream media. In terms of people like Annie, I mean, I spoke before about that. There is a case, actually. So we did a famous case last year, the Bank Julius Baer case, which revealed money laundering from the Swiss banks through the Cayman Islands. Once that information was in the public, anonymously in the public, and we were sued, then it became an interesting issue. The moral line was already lined up, and at that stage, the whistleblower involved came forward and didn't suffer a legal consequence as a result, because he had seen which way the wind was blowing, where the legal attack was, where the press interest was. So maybe you can do hybrid circumstances, but I agree. My friends say that have been fired from these newspapers in the United States as they rationalise that the feeling to them is as if they had been totally censored, because you can be economically censored. In fact, that is the biggest part of the censorship pyramid, is at the bottom of people who economically can't communicate. Not just journalists that have been fired, but people don't have access to the internet at all, as an example. And others are put under economic threats or pressure to not say particular things. It's something very difficult to deal with, as is self-censorship. When people see that someone is on the rare circumstances, even in Russia it's rare, where a journalist is murdered, this pushes down from the top. You can see the murder, but you can't see all the people that stop writing and stop speaking out. That's invisible. And the same in the United Kingdom with the many libel actions that occur in the United Kingdom that don't even reach the law court. You won't hear about them, but they certainly have an effect on the newspaper industry. Something I should just mention, since I've spoken about the traditional media industry, which is important and which has won many legal protections for publishing. How did it win those legal protections for its industry? How did it manage to get a constitutional amendment in the United States? It managed to do that through its power as an industry, to protect itself, to introduce laws to protect its operations. As most of those monopoly media industries lose their monopoly in a global sense, as they're competing with bloggers that have no unions behind them, I think we'll see a state where there is no journalistic force as a powerful industry to keep up those protections. So we need to set the standard now as the world globalizes and the new laws are being made. Why we still have the remnants of a powerful media industry, because pretty soon it's not going to be there. There'll be distribution industries, but there won't be journalistic industries.
Let's make one very small point about the media as well. There's a very good book that came out in the UK last year by a respected investigative journalist called Nick Davis, called Flat Earth News. And he actually had a study done at a university in the UK and established that journalists on mainstream national media, be it print or TV or whatever, have to produce twice as much copy per day in half as much time per day. So this has led to what he has nicknamed churnalism. So they just churn out PR reports and puff and reports coming out of the government without checking their facts, without going out and talking to people or anything. So it just becomes this treadmill. And I think the general public is becoming increasingly aware and increasingly sceptical about what is reported in the mainstream media for a variety of reasons, including the lies that took us into the war, etc. But, this is something that has been established. It's a sort of factual analysis of what's going on for journalists now. So I think that's quite interesting. They're painting themselves out of the picture.
I don't think so much about journalism, about censorship. I think about the aspect of manipulation. On the one side, they collect our privacy uncensored, our personal data, and store it in great files. Perhaps some of you work in this business. And on the other side, they have the possibility to manipulate us by collecting the information we get. And they also know on where are the triggers in our person and our life they can use to bring us to buy pink shoes or aluminium hats or things like that. And we are thinking we are funny and we are thinking we are cool, but we only manipulate it. And there I see I don't like this. I want to live my own life. I think would be good.
Okay.
Bring more input.
My name is Jørgen. I'm with the IT Political Association of Denmark. And I think that one thing we have to realize is that most of these laws that are passed is passed because of the easy opinions. When after September 11th, everybody was screaming for politicians to do something against terrorism. And of course, the politicians chose the easy way. They chose to do something that does just look like they were doing something. And while they were doing that, all kind of other